My son Alex was born extremely premature. He was what they call a 23-weeker, meaning he was born about 4 months early. Yet, Alex is being born extremely premature. It's one of those things you don't know about or don't realize until you go through something like that. And it's pretty interesting. We were still waiting, expecting a September birthday. Alex was born in May, 4 months early. And so all those things, those last-minute things, really never got taken care of. From setting up his room, as almost every mother wants to do, to even picking his name. We hadn't picked that out either. So he was born about 4 months early, and a good rule of thumb is when a child is born early, they usually stay in the hospital until what their normal birth date would have been. So for Alex, he was in there 4 full months. He was kind of level 4, level 3 for 3 of those months. Level 4 is like the NICU, the kind of this extremely high level area of the hospital with limited access and full-time nurses. There were 3 nurses that were Alex's caregivers, and their only job was to take care of Alex during these 4 months. They had no other patients, no other babies that they took care of. And so he was at that level 4, that higher level, for 3 of those 4 months. And even the last month, he was only moved up to level 3, but around the clock care. So people often ask about how big he was. And so just for reference here, this is a football. It's kind of a toy that was given, a little spongy ball, by the nurse at Children's Mercy Hospital. And there's some pictures that we have, and you may see them, where they compare this or put this in with Alex in his incubator. When he's about 2 months old, this was the size of his head. So you can kind of see the size of this and how extraordinarily small it is. In addition, the same nurse, which went to Camdenton as well, Megan Hewlett, I think class of '92, she had also done this little piece of artwork here. What this is about a month and a half or 2 months into Alex's birth, they'd fingerprinted just like they do normal patients. And so this is not when he was born, this is later after he was bigger. But here's the size of his hands. You can kind of see those, comparing it to a thumb, or these are the size of his feet. And she did a little artwork here because it was by July 4th. But it's pretty amazing when you compare the size of the foot or the hand, or even how big his head was months later, to really see or feel how small Alex was. So there are many complications with premature babies, and a lot of those deal with the development of a baby or a child. We're expected to be in the womb for about 9 months, and during that time, your internal organs develop, your ability for sight and vision, etc. With Alex being born extremely premature, there's a very high expectation of many problems. Blindness is a very, very possible one. Being deaf was another one. Fortunately, Alex didn't have either of those complications. However, when Alex was born, he was born about 1 pound and 6 ounces. Within a week, they kind of cut his weight. They got him lighter on purpose. He was down to about 15 ounces as a whole. So he's about 1 foot long and 15 ounces in size. They did heart surgery on him. Part of the reason for the heart surgery is being born 4 months early, your heart is not trained yet or not developed yet to pump through the lungs like all of us do as even children are now adults. So they went in and did heart surgery on him about 8 days into it. To do that surgery, they put him on his stomach. They did an incision on his back. They moved his lung over, did the heart surgery on an incredibly small heart. I mean, he was small as a whole, and that was one of his first surgeries. He did have hernia surgery after that. He later on had some other related things, including retinopathy of prematurity, or ROP. Premature babies often can't utilize oxygen like we do, partially because their lungs are not fully developed. All the features that you normally have in internal organs aren't fully working at that point in time. To help cure this, you're usually put on a respirator and you're usually given oxygen. Oxygen is a great thing. We all need oxygen. However, premature babies getting oxygen often causes the retina in your eye to grow kind of dysfunctionally. They used to check Alex once a week, and every week they would check his eyes. And eventually he did, like so many premature babies, he did develop retinopathy of prematurity, or ROP. The solution to that is to have eye surgery. So when Alex was maybe 3 or 4 pounds, maybe about 3 months or so after birth, they went in and did eye surgery on him as well. And they did that to prevent him from going blind, so it was a good thing. But it did cause visual issues where he lost some peripheral vision. So those are some examples of things that occur, more specifically with premature babies. The development since then is relatively normal. He should grow up to be what we'd all envision to be a relatively normal child. But he does have slight kind of complications or effects of being born so extremely premature. He did have pneumonia, 4 or 5 months after we brought him home. which is many years ago now. And even just recently, here in 2012, at the age of 8, he did have eye surgery just to correct one of his eyes would always kind of trail off, and that's vision issues are pretty normal with premature babies. But other than that, he's a pretty normal kid. We pick on him, of course, being our own child, but he is about as normal as you can get, other than being born extremely premature. We participate in many of the walks and the fundraisers. Alex has been on the cover of magazines in Kansas City for like CCVI, which is Children's Center for the Visually Impaired, which has some affiliation with March of Dimes. And so, Alex is a great example of kids that are helped by March of Dimes. March of Dimes is a charity that's focused on babies, but specifically a great element of that is premature babies. And so there are things that Alex has done being involved with March of Dimes. There were things in the hospital that we participated in to help March of Dimes with their research and things. So it's a great organization. But other than that, he's a pretty normal kid. We pick on him, of course, being our own child, but he is about as normal as you can get, other than being born extremely premature.